Welcome to Expat Chronicles. This is Kim and
Liz.
welcome. We have a special guest star, and I mean star. Okay, this is a star we got going on here. I'm going to put it out there. Okay, welcome to. I'm going to let you introduce yourself. Go ahead.
Hi, I'm Eliza, and I'm really excited to be on this show. Thanks for inviting me.
We are excited. We are definitely excited. So welcome once again to Expat Chronicles. Okay, all right. So like I said, I'm personally happy to have Liza here. I've met her a long time ago. It's been, I don't even know how long, like it's 7 years ago. 7 years. Yeah, okay. And we met while working abroad here in the Middle East in the UAE. And just to see your growth, Eliza, to see all the things you've done and what we'll be discussing, I'm just happy to have you here with us. So thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Okay, so Eliza, on the spotlight, yes. Give us a brief description or a short profile of who you are.
Sure. So I'm Eliza. I'm American, and I've been a language educator since 2009. Since then, I've worked in the US, South Korea, the UAE, and I currently live in Vietnam. And when I'm not teaching, I promote Malayalam, which is a language from South India. And I like to basically advocate for mother tongue education and making language accessible to everyone.
Okay. And how do you do that?
With the power of social media, the double-edged sword that runs our lives.
And that's great because I remember when you started, like, when you were getting your things together, when you were, learning, I mess it up every time, so I'm not going to even bother. Yes. My tongue right now is probably it's not functioning right now for that right now, but we'll get there, trust me. But I remember, and it all started though, like we're diving in there with the dating scene here in the Middle East, right? So tell us a little bit about that.
So I came to the UAE freshly divorced. UAE is a really great place to kind of just whoosh everything. I had gotten married at 20. Definitely don't recommend that for anybody. And then I got a divorce and my master's degree, and I was teaching students from Saudi Arabia at that time in Texas. And I was like, guys, I'm about to graduate with my master's. I have a ton of student debt, like any true red-blooded American.
Right.
And I was like, all right, should I go to Saudi and teach? Because the salaries are quite good there. And my students are like, no, miss, go to Dubai. So yeah, a year later, I found myself landing in the UAE. And, after taking a bit of time to myself and getting through everything I went through, I downloaded Tinder and joined the roller coaster that is dating.
There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing. I mean, the way things are going, with just trying to live, okay? There's nothing wrong with having, a little app to just, help that along here and there.
Oh my God. Well, the thing is, you think there's a big pool of people in the UAE because we're almost all foreigners, but like you start seeing the same people as you're swiping through. It's like, how many guys with drugged up tigers in Thailand am I going to look at today? How many shirtless, kite beach pictures am I going to have to swim through? Oh my God.
Oh goodness.
Someone else would ask you, before you downloaded Tinder, did you actually just try the normal meeting guys off the street? Is that even possible?
Well, it's hard because I was living in Ajman, and in Ajman, it's very much family oriented. There's not bars to go to. There's not like a common place to meet. Like even in coffee shops, you just don't walk up to people and say, hey, what's up?
Yeah.
And then, in Dubai, like the dating scene itself is quite interesting because you've got a very transient community. You've got this transient community of expats because people are coming, people are leaving, people got baggage that they're not dealing with, people got wives back home they're not telling you about, kind of a thing. So I feel like Tinder is a great way of meeting someone and kind of like, kind of checking it before you make the effort to like go out and put on makeup and meet this person.
Right. Yeah, no,
So
it's a lot. Yeah,
yeah.
it's a lot. I remember the dating scene. Like I was doing that actually back when I was living in South Korea because I met my husband there. And
Mhm.
so I mean, it was, and I know Eliza used to live in South Korea. So I mean, even though you might not have been on the dating scene, I'm pretty sure you probably saw the craziness that was out there. And it's
Oh
not
yeah.
easy. It's not knowing, because I mean, the one that really stood out, what you said, meeting a man and not knowing they have a wife back home. Because if I wanted, let's say, American man, if that wasn't teaching English, it was more than likely someone off the base. And it
Yeah,
was
you
the
don't want
The
it.
US
No,
base, and definitely
no.
didn't want to mess with that. A lot of them were
No, no.
lying their butts off.
My
Like,
ex was in the army. That's why we were in Korea. And I tell
right,
you, I have personal stories of people I know that just did all kinds of
right,
stuff. And I'm like,
right.
that's a whole other
So,
podcast. It's like the army
yeah.
life. That's just
When I mean, I met a guy that literally had the name Ashley on their arm, talking. And I'm like, who is that? Oh no, that's my ex. What?
Yeah, but
So okay, like you
no,
went to the
thanks.
extreme to put her whole name on your arm, and that's just your ex. Yeah, I don't believe she's out of your life. The end. Like, let's try that again.
I
Yeah.
think the biggest thing about dating in the Middle East. So I am never thought of dating apps or anything of that sort. Just not something that I've ever used because I'm African, right? And I
Mhm.
remember moving as an expatriate and having to meet actually date when I was in Doha. First of all, like you said, Eliza, half the guys you meet are single where they are, but married elsewhere. And
Geographical bachelors.
I
Yes.
know.
Right. Yes, that's
And
good. I
and
love
then
that. I love
there's
that term.
a lot of weirdness to it. Because I can't explain, there's no other word for it except weirdness. I'll tell you the craziest thing is there's one particular guy who was so, okay, so we're gonna see if we can date. Okay, perfect. I'm going out with my girls, and he's like, okay, sure. Let's go out. And he tags along. We all went out, we have fun, it's time to go home. And obviously, I'm expecting he's going to drive us home. And he says, hi, my car only goes as far as my apartment. So
Oh.
that's as far as I'm driving. And I don't know, like, so you guys will have to spend the night. And I looked at my girlfriends, there's like 3 of us. I'm like, heck no, we're not doing that. So I remember in Doha, Sea Ring Road is like one of the biggest roads. I don't know if it's still one of the biggest roads. And this guy, we're having this disagreement, and he's adamant. His car's going as far as his apartment. So I'm like, you know what? Park on the side of the road. So he did. And by right, I think he thought we were going to get out. So all I did was jump out, go around, and I was like, you get out. You cannot drive us to you can only drive us to your apartment. That's perfectly fine. I've got a driver's license. I will drive to my apartment.
Okay.
And if you want your car, you can come along and then take it. Or if you don't want your car, it's perfectly fine. You can pick it up tomorrow, right? So he did come along, thank goodness. But the weirdest is the sense of entitlement. Like, now that I've got this far, I'm spending the night. I'm like, excuse me. I don't know where you come from. Just because you tagged along, you didn't even take me out. You tagged along. You think you have a sense of entitlement. And this is my biggest issue, cross-culture wise. For some people, it's normal. Once you've gone on a date, the rest should follow. And for some of us, it's probably not normal. So I found the dating scene crazy.
Well, the thing that's crazy is that even though we're in an international place with a lot of different places, people are bringing their own baggage of what they think other women act like. So maybe they think, oh, African women do this, white women do this, because like a lot of men that I've dated or had dates with, various backgrounds, but like a lot of maybe South Asians or Middle Eastern people, they tend to think that us white girls are like in the movies, just like ready to put out, just like that. And so then they get really mad when they find out, no, I have a brain and enjoy stimulating conversation. And, And like, I don't want to get too graphic here, but like people would message me such weird things, like what color certain parts of my body were, because they were just like,
No.
oh, oh, it's a
Really?
fetish. It's such a fetish
Oh,
thing. Yes. So
wow.
it's like, it's already, dating's already bad. And then you've got like
Right.
fetishists, you've got passport chasers, you've got people looking for something on the side,
Right.
like, and you're trying not to be
But
racist, and you're trying not to be like whatever, but then you're like, oh, this guy's Egyptian. What should I do? You know? So it's like,
but then who came along? Then you met that.
I met Arjun.
Yes,
Yeah.
you
And
did.
we met on a dating app, but we didn't meet right away because I was
Okay.
backpacking across Australia. So
Oh, love
basically,
that.
yeah, we started talking and I'm like, it's nice to talk to you, but I'm gonna be gone for 2 months because it's summer holidays. And like we
Mm-hmm.
can chat, and if you like meet somebody, who cares? Like it's fine, whatever. Like, and we chatted every day for 2 months.
Wow.
And what we ended up
Okay.
doing is the time difference started getting crazy because Australia is massive, right? So by the time I
Mm-hmm.
got over to Brisbane and then over to New Zealand, we barely had a window of talking. So we started sending voice notes, and we would have like one topic per day. Like, today I'm going to tell you about this time in my childhood when I did
Oh,
something funny.
wow.
Or today I'm going to talk about why I'm afraid of this thing, you know?
Okay.
So like we kind of really got to know a lot about each other, and we had chemistry and blah blah blah. And because there aren't enough women to date in Dubai, Arjun just never got another date.
I mean, to be honest, it's like just beyond that. Like even my single friends now, they say the scene is still horrendous. Let's just put it
Yeah,
like that. Like they
yeah,
struggle. So I totally
yeah,
get it. But
yeah.
yeah, going on. Yeah,
So,
continuing.
so the part that people find very polarizing is that I decided that the first time we meet should be when I arrive at the airport after being in transit for 20 hours from New Zealand after a 6-week backpacking trip. Like so many
Oh
of my friends are like,
yeah.
girl, you are crazy. You're gonna be nasty. You're gonna be like this,
Poor
that. Like, how
Eliza.
could you even? And I'm
No.
like, if he likes me now,
Right.
no problem. No problem.
Mm-hmm.
So like, yeah, so we met, and yeah, he, it went well, and he's like, well, why don't you come visit my place in Dubai next week? And then during that time I had time to like go to the salon, all this other stuff. And when I showed up, he literally was like, wow, can I send a picture of you to my mom?
Oh wow. He's already plotting. Okay.
Yeah.
I remember the
All
first
right.
time, Eliza, you told me about Arjun. Oh my gosh. I think I was like, okay. Having known you so long and having like seen you transition and all that, and then she's talking
Wait,
about
just to
this
clarify,
guy.
just how long have you known Eliza? Because I know I said how long I've known her. How long
We
have
were
you known her,
batchmates. We
Lizzie?
started at the same time at
So
ATHS.
that's
Right.
about over
8 years.
8 years. Yeah. And
Okay,
we've been to each other's weddings, hey? So
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and before Arjun, I was in this 1 year long entanglement with this Moroccan fellow, and Lizzie saw me through it, man. She saw me on the days I showed up to work, like,
Oh no.
I think the biggest thing for me was when you met Arjun, it wasn't the same bubbly, oh, I met somebody. It was, oh, Liz, I met someone, and yeah, his name is Arjun, blah, blah, blah. You spoke about him as if he was the guy next door. And I remember going home and telling my husband, yeah, Eliza's met somebody, and he's like, please, can he be like, can he be so different from so and so, the entanglement guy? And I'm like, I don't think so, because the way she talks about him, like, I hope this guy's not friend zoning her, And
Oh,
then meeting
wow.
Arjun for the first time, and the way he was so cool. Until now, I remember the first time Arjun came to my apartment. He was so chilled, and so polite. And I was like to my husband, I think Eliza just got caged. She doesn't know she got caged, because this guy is waiting for jokes.
See,
Okay,
I'll
okay.
tell you what, like the biggest thing that changed for me was, okay, I had my divorce, right? So I was married 6 years. So I had to get I wasn't a single 20 something. So I need to like get that out of my system. And then the Moroccan guy really solidified the whole, like, you need to stop giving so many shits about things, and you need to like put down whatever. And like literally my
Mhm.
first message to Arjun was like, I'm divorced, I'm not religious, I have tattoos, blah blah blah. If your family is going to have a problem with this, then please don't waste my time.
There you go.
And
I'm
Arjun's
not
like,
mad at it.
no. And Arjun was like, at first I thought you were really intense, and then I got to know you, and now I understand. And so like by the time I met Arjun, I was like, look, I'm looking for a husband. I know I want to get married again, and I know what my boundaries are. So like, you're either in it or you're not. And I think that's why my tone changed. Like what Lizzie's saying, like, yeah, there's this guy. I'm not going to get too excited about it. We'll just see how it goes, you know? So, and then there you go.
Okay. All right. Well, how was it? Because he popped the big question, right? You guys, then you went into planning a wedding, not here in the UAE, but in India. And just in case we haven't mentioned that, Arjun is Indian, right? His family is from India. And so you guys, you know, went into planning now an entire wedding in India. How was that? That just, you know, doing something totally foreign, you know, on foreign land, you know,
So,
how was that for you?
So for me, the wedding itself was not so difficult because his parents supported him and really did so much. And my in-laws and my brother-in-law, they did a lot of great stuff. And, you know, I had one wedding already in my 20s, and like I resolved that I don't care what happens on my special day as long as I look good and the pictures are gorgeous. That's like the only two things I care about. And,
yes.
But I'll tell you, the process of getting legally married in the UAE is a pain in the ass. Okay.
Okay.
Because we wanted to initially to just register through the UAE, but the UAE, since we're mixed background, they were asking for like my baptism certificate and all these other things that don't exist for me because it's just not. Yeah, it's. So we're like,
get
okay,
a baptism certificate?
I guess you do. You better go ask your pastor. Like, hey man,
like mom, can I see those photos?
I mean, tangentially, we know the UAE is obsessed with certificates and authentication and equalization and all this. So just stamp. So we found out the Indian consulate does marriages, like, you know, there. So technically we're being married in India, but it's in UAE. And that took 6 months and about $1,000 with all the paperwork.
I think I remember that process that you were going through, like, you know, like bits and pieces of that. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, because at that time it was illegal in the UAE to cohabitate. Now that's been revoked. And also I wanted that sweet a housing allowance for being married.
Yes. Yeah, it is nice. I'm not gonna lie.
So yeah, after doing all the legal stuff, I was more than happy to let my in-laws just be like, you know what? Because in an Indian family, it's about a joining of two families, and for Indians, it's all about how good you can look in front of everybody, right? So I know they're going to make me look good. I know that everything's going to be fine. So I'm just going to show up a week before the wedding, pick out my wedding dress, and enjoy life. And that's pretty much how it went. That's pretty much how it went.
I have a question for both of you, since both of you met your husbands whilst not at home and then got married, right? I know, Kim, you guys are both American, but my major question is, how do you know they don't have a secret family stash? Like, are you going to do the background check? Are you going to do the... Like, I asked this because my case is totally different, right? But like, how did you two both know there's not a secret family stash somewhere?
So for me, I would say the biggest clue is he introduces you to his friends and family early. Because obviously if there was somebody else around, they would not be keen to share you with other people. You know, you're meeting the family, you're meeting the siblings, you're meeting the friends. That's one big thing. And then having them involved in your life. Like I was texting my mother-in-law 6 months into dating Arjun. So like, it was just very normalized. Second of all, legally, for American to marry a non-American, they have to produce a legal document certifying that they are single from their government. And you, so like legally you're protected as well. so there is that. So, but like socially, yeah, like the sooner they introduce you to the friends and family, the more comfortable I think I would have felt. Like, you know, with my previous boyfriend, he did introduce me to his family eventually, but like we weren't Facebook official. He never posted pictures of us and all this other stuff, which hindsight, I'm like, you know, that's kind of suspicious, but you know, whatever. So things like that. Things like
Yeah.
that.
For me, it's slightly different because I mean, we started hanging out, dating. We met through like honestly, we met through a mutual friend where he was actually getting to know, because it was, my husband's really good with like meetups and meeting people just out there. He loves to go. He doesn't hesitate. He's really good at going up to people and just talking to them, etc. And so he actually met my one of my best friends, her then boyfriend, through like just a photography, because he does photography. When they both did photography meetup, and it was like, hey, we're over in this other town. Hey, we're coming through. Would you like, to link up on the train? And that's literally how we met, on the train on our way to Seoul in Korea. And we just, it just kind of kicked it off there, just hanging out, just, random things. Because I can't honestly say that I wasn't like, how you say, Eliza, those 20s where you missed out. Like I was in my 20s, right? So I'm single in my 20s in another foreign land, getting paid very well, living on my own, all these
Ain't
things.
no
So
hurry.
it wasn't like, right, exactly. It wasn't like I'm looking for my husband right now. It was more like, hey, we're hanging out, we're having a good time. At one point, I think he had left for South Africa for a month. And I was just like, ain't nobody got time for that. I'm not, like, this isn't, like, I'm not sitting here waiting. We weren't really like official in that sense. And at that time, we were just having just really a nice time. It's just, I couldn't get rid of him, honestly. Like he was always there. Like even when we would argue, or sometimes like in little things, it was just literally, I'll open my, hear a knock on my door and, what are you doing here? Like type situation.
Yeah. And that's a good sign, because like usually
right.
if someone's got somebody else, usually evenings, weekends, special occasions, they'll
Exactly.
suddenly not be available, and it's like
Right, exactly. So it was just, and it definitely had its ups and downs, like I said, because I don't think we knew at the time what we were looking for. Because he had been in Korea a year before me. So he was still kind of moving around, figuring out things. So, and then eventually like we just made it, we both ended up in Thailand. And that's where he proposed. And then, because from there, it's like, listen, we're moving from country to country now. What's going, like, what's really going on, like, we're not trying to go back to America. And, and so little things like that. And so it just went from there, and just like Zoom calling his family, like talking to them, not every day, but just, them being aware of who I am and me of them, and vice versa with my family. So it just kind of went in that route for me personally. And it turned out to be pretty good. We're here in the UAE now, still married. I think we're about to go on. I want to say 9 years. 8 years, 9, yeah, something like that. I know I'm so bad with that. I know.
So
We've been together for a minute. Let's just put it like that.
you just can't think of a time when you weren't married to him.
Right, there you go. I just
oh gosh.
So just things like that. So yeah, it's just but I mean, and so we're all, because it's just interesting to be in this dynamic where we're all married abroad, or married living abroad, I should say. And just going through different experiences, learning, and then now watching others go through that same experience, some of, the dating scene, like seeing my poor girlfriends here, my single girlfriends here trying to find a man. And it's just, and they just be so sad. And I understand.
I never want to date again.
Disclaimer out.
Right, girl. Tell me about it.
I just want to put a disclaimer out there. Whilst I might have dated in the Middle East, I did not date my husband. So I just got married. Hey, story for another day.
Yes. We'll put that in our pocket.
We never went through.
Yeah, because I was like, Lizzie, what?
Right.
My husband and
I don't think we have enough time for that one.
No,
we never dated. We were not I was never his girlfriend. He was never my boyfriend. I just went home to South Africa one long week, and I happened to fly over and spend time with him. And the first night I arrived, he proposed. End of story. So I don't have any dating stories, by the way. That's why I'm contributing to this part.
You dated,
She
you
does,
dated while
but not
married.
from the
Yeah.
husband.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
Oh,
I know. I'm aware of those stories, Eliza.
We're all like,
Like you said, a story for another day. Okay.
God, that should be a whole other podcast series, Dating
Right.
Expat Chronicles.
Well, it looks like we're going through the timeline now, because we talked about dating, marrying, and now having a baby. Now I'm child free. Okay. Lizzie, you had both your babies. You have two beautiful children.
Okay.
And Eliza, beautiful Eliza here, is expecting her first baby. Congratulations once again. Okay.
Thank
So
you.
just going through those transitions now, because now you've gone from single, married, now to having, giving life. Okay, basically. How was that for you guys abroad? Because honestly, I mean, I've had friends in the past have babies abroad, and honestly, it just seems like the experience is 10 times better abroad than it is back, for me personally, in the US. What would you guys say?
Well, I haven't given birth yet, but I can
Yes.
tell you that because I married an Indian and because he's from Kerala, which has some of the best health
Right.
care globally. I mean, all the nurses in the UAE are from Kerala, right?
Right.
I'm really happy I can go and deliver and not have to worry about walking away with a $10,000 medical
Tell
bill.
me about it.
Yeah.
Just having that and having the ability to take 5-6 months off and just focus on me and the baby. Like, I know I can't do that stateside. So I'm really grateful for that. Like, it's the best time right now to have one. It's just while we're here, while we're able to, have access. I have secondary citizenship in India. It's not the same as a full citizenship, but I have the rights to stay in the country if I want to work there, things like that.
That's nice. That's nice.
So yeah, like, that's for all the trouble that it is getting married internationally, there are benefits. And this is definitely where the benefits are kicking in.
I mean, well, you just laid it out. You just have that peace of mind while being pregnant, because pregnancy, it takes a toll on your body. Your body is transforming to bring life into this world. And so to have to worry about something like a medical bill going into labor, are they going to treat me? Like, personally, for me, being a Black woman in the US, I know I have an additional fear of, are they going to treat me correctly as a Black woman?
The statistics are abysmal for Black women in America.
Exactly. So it's things like that, and and all of those things. So it's just really just what, just like I said, just having that sense of security, knowing that you're going to be okay, inshallah, you're going to be okay. You're going to, like, be well taken care of. Yeah. And Lizzie, for you as well, because you actually gave birth to not one, but two babies. So how was that for you?
Both my pregnancies were extremely high risk. And I have I have a lot of respect for the Middle East and its medical care, and just, it would have been very expensive, first of all, to do this in Africa, in Zimbabwe. And because of the specialized care I needed for both pregnancies, it would have been way more exorbitant. And just the fact that, so when I say high risk, with my daughter, I had doctor's checkups every 7 days, because just carrying alone was perceived as impossible. Doctors told me early on, I could not carry my daughter full term. It would be impossible. And then with my son, it was high risk. I didn't need that much attention. I just needed medication. I was on blood thinning injections because of thrombosis. And so for the whole course of the pregnancy, and I am extremely grateful, because both pregnancies gave birth. My daughter was in NICU for a couple of days and then walked out. And I think the medical bill was equivalent. The medical bill I paid was equivalent to just over $150, about 500 dirham. And that's it. But that's not the actual bill. The actual bill was in the tens of thousands US dollars. Yeah. But I didn't pay that. Okay, my medical cover paid that. So I'm
Mhm.
extremely grateful for that part.
Yeah, I think that's just a personal bonus for all of us, just the universal healthcare, the healthcare we get being abroad as expats. It's just, and it's just a shame that we don't get it properly in our home country. I know for Eliza and I'm not with Lizzie, is it the same in Zimbabwe for you with the healthcare system specifically, or I'm not sure?
You can get healthcare, but it's extremely
Okay.
expensive because you get basic
Okay.
healthcare. But to go to a
Okay.
private hospital, you have to pay
Hospital.
upfront.
Yeah. See, and
Yeah.
so it's just, I know that was a bonus. I remember being in South Korea and just going to the hospital because I was just had a cold. And my co-teacher at the time was like, just go to the hospital. I was like, why would I go to the hospital? Because as an American, we're so used to self-treating ourselves, getting over the counter meds and, and not going. So I was like, I know what this is. This is a cold. I don't need to go. And she, basically dragged me to the hospital, to the doctor, a little clinic. And it was just, 1, 2, 3, check, here's your meds. And I paid, I think, $10.
Yeah.
I literally got on the phone with my mom and was like, do you know I just got medicine and saw the doctor and all of these things and it only cost me $10? What the, what is going on?
During
And
COVID,
I was just in so much shock.
during COVID here, I got hospitalized because they suspected me of having COVID. Vietnam has been extremely strict from 2020 to 2022. And so I was taken to a state hospital for 3 days. They gave me a COVID test and then they kept me in a hospital wing for 3 nights, fed me 3 times a day, doctor's visits every day. I paid $10.
Right. There you go.
Wow.
Yeah.
3 days.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, better treatment than those, just I can't even say. I don't,
No.
it's just amazing.
No.
It's utterly amazing. And it doesn't make any sense why so many are struggling and dying because of something that should be right. But once again, that's another
That's a can of worms
day
because
for
I'm like,
right.
don't get me started on insulin and
Right.
shit.
All right. So
I'm
that's
gonna get
another
mad.
day. Let's bring it back. Let's bring that back. Okay. Because we're celebrating the joy of bringing life into this world. Okay. Healthy, once again, we wish Eliza, in her pregnancy, a safe and healthy pregnancy. Definitely can't wait to see he or she, it is. All right. And so I'm excited. Gonna have a bunch of curly hair or like I still be so little cherub baby. I could just see it. I'm sorry. Okay. And so so we're doing that, but we're gonna I think it's best to probably go ahead and kind of wrap this up with this last thought about just the whole idea of we went through the whole timeline of marrying abroad, dating, having a baby. And I think now this and we're all in this field. So I think we all have a say in this. And when you have that baby now, the education with finding that, for your child when you want to stay abroad. So, I mean, Eliza, I know you're still new to the game, but I know that's crossed your mind. Like, what are you going to do, once it's time, school age time, etc. I know, Lizzie, you just went through that process with your eldest, all those things. So, that time, the timeline doesn't end. And this is where we're at now. So Lizzie, I know you can start with this because I know you just went through that process. So if you'd like to go ahead and share.
So I think abroad planning for education is important. Know the school you want to go to. There's different curriculums available, especially in the UAE. And the same way you plan when you buy a car, to buy a car within your budget, plan a school that's within your budget, because education in the UAE is expensive. And
check your school's qualifications.
Caters for all walks of life, right?
Yeah, check the qualifications, because one of the biggest concerns is you pay a lot of money and then find out that your child can't transfer to another school or I'll have difficulty applying to university. So it's one of those, like, you don't have to you don't have to splash out money for the most expensive one, but just be sure at least that they're affiliated with an international curriculum that's going to work.
That's a valid point. I strongly believe external examination boards exams are important. Okay, not just a high school certificate, but especially if you're an expatriate, because can your child assimilate back into your home system?
Right. That's a good thought. Yeah, I didn't think about that. So it was a lot of things to unpack there and think about with that. But unfortunately, we're going to have to save that for another. And because I can't wait to have Eliza back with us. I thought this was a great conversation to have. I'm just overjoyed to be having this conversation, especially since, we're not in the same country at all, like
Oh,
to be
yeah.
able to do this and
we should mention Eliza is currently in Vietnam right now.
Right.
Yes.
I'm a place I was trying to make it to, but was told no because I forgot about my visa. I was trying to
I need those.
completely forgot about that visa. Oh, I got a little overzealous with my American passport, that visa on arrival part. So
we kind of did some stuff, Kim. They have some reasons to be annoyed
right.
with us.
Yeah.
I don't know what you guys are complaining about. We should talk about visas on arrival.
That's a whole other thing. Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
That's another. I went and got another. Just how you have your secondary, Eliza, I went and got another one too. Don't worry, because I was like, I need to be able to get in these countries without having to pay U.S. prices. How about that?
Yeah.
So, but yes. Once again, it was great to chat with you, Eliza. Thank you so much for being part of Expat Chronicles. We can't wait to have you back with us.
Sure.
And Lizzie, and thank you.
It was
thank
fun.
you so much.
Thank you guys for joining us, and hopefully we'll have you guys on for the next episode. And Eliza, back with us soon.
Yes,
absolutely.
And
this is Expat Chronicles. Thank you so much. Bye.